This is the fast track version of the Google Jamboard tutorial. So I'm going to take you through how to make the following Jamboard frames. So this first one is a collaborative Jamboard. Within it, all the pupils work on this one frame. They have a post-it note with their name on it, and they move that little sticky note to whatever category suits them. This next example, here we've got some images that have been brought in from the Google that's inbuilt into Jamboard. And in this one, we've got an image that's been uploaded, and around it, all of the pupils put on sticky notes to indicate what they thought the error was in this programming question. Then in this example, we've got a little part of a handout that I was using with a lesson, and in it then, just as retrieval practice, when we rejoined the lesson the next day, took a snippet from my handout, dropped it into here, and then asked them to annotate around to explain what the code does. And then this part here, these are in response to questions that were asked during the live meeting. Down at the bottom corner, you can see that I asked them to put on their name, and that's so that I know who's working on the frame without having to go up and see their name at the very top. So this just makes it really easy for me at a glance to see whose frame I'm looking at. Then finally, I want to show you how to put in a background image, so it makes it easier for the pupils so that this graphic organizer that I'm using doesn't jump about and move about on them whenever they're working on the frame. So it's set in as an image in the background. Finally, what I'll show you then is how to copy a frame across so that everyone has their own individual frame, and they can work individually and you can then monitor them. So here's an example. I simply put 4 post-it notes here, and I said that I wanted them in this lesson. So this was a full live lesson. This took the whole class to do this. So it was an end of week review. So we learned these 4 diagrams, and then I wanted them to take their own individual frame like this and to put down everything that they know. So this was a retrieval practice exercise about each of those 4 diagrams and separating their screen up into the 4 parts. You'll notice here, if they don't know how to do something, I always ask them to put on a question mark, so then that gives me information, and then I can go in and give them a hand. So let's get started with making these. To Google, as normal, and I always make sure I'm in my school C2K account. Then to the left of that, you can see this little waffle icon, and that's all of our Google apps in there. Click the waffle icon, drag down. Jamboard is down in the second section. Click on Jamboard and it loads up. Down at the bottom right, you can see this orange plus. So I tap the orange plus and it opens up a blank, brand new Jamboard ready for me to start. The first thing I'll do is tap Untitled Jam and rename that. So I will just call this Practice. That's now my jam created and named. So this first one, how did I make this? So what we've used here is the sticky note tool. You'll notice down the side I could use pen, eraser, pointer tool, sticky note, adding some images in, some shapes, text box tool, and then laser pointer to point things out on the screen. So sticky notes then is what I want for this one. So I'm going for a green sticky note. This little traffic light system. Okay, and notice I don't even need to click off a note. I can just straight away in here put my next one on. And then the final one. Not okay. Help. Then cancel to close that down. Move them across. 1, 2, 3. Then I could use the pen tool here. If you tap on it, there's different thicknesses. I'm just going to go for the black shade. I'm using my trackpad, so it might be a bit wonky. Doesn't really matter. Jamboard is all about messy learning. Creating 3 columns roughly like that. And then that's it, good to go. So that was creating this little frame that the pupils can now come onto, create a post-it note and put their name on, and then move their name to whatever category suits. how do I then give this to the pupils so that they can then go on and edit it? So what I need to do is change the share privileges. So at the moment it's private to only me. So I tap this. And this top part is where I can put in individuals that I want to share it with. But in this case, I'm sharing it with a larger group. So I click change to C2KEN. C2KEN, the organisation account. Sometimes I widen it out to anyone with the link, because sometimes when the pupils are using this, it can default and move about to their own personal accounts. So just to save any tech problems during the lesson, I sometimes widen it out to anyone with the link just for that short time. Then at the moment it's in viewer access, but I want them to be able to change it. So I go to editor. So I'm making anyone with this link editor access. So then I copy my link and click done. Now into my meeting, and the chat of the meeting is here. And then I just on my keyboard, Control and V, or I can right click and paste on my mouse and send the message in. And now all the pupils in the chat can click on that link, join the Jamboard and get started. Now, if someone joins your meeting after you have put this link in, so if you have any latecomers, you'll have to copy this link again, like that. So Control C and paste it back in for them. So that was the first example. Second example, so in this one we've got some images. So if you want to use the inbuilt images in Google Jamboard, here's how you do it. So the image tool, tap here, and to recreate the one that I just showed you, so that was a green tick. I'll use that one, tap it, click insert, and then I use these weak corners to drag it up and resize, put my next one in. This time I'll go for a red cross, tap, insert, and in it goes. And drag that up to this corner. So now if you could use these wee shape tools to categorize it. So there's one. Shape tool will go over the top because it's the new image added. To change the order, we do this. Then if I wanted another one, exactly the same size, I choose duplicate. And again, order, send it back. And there we go, that's the second one made. Now on to the third one. So in this one here, I have an image that I've uploaded from my computer. So clear frame, and back to images, upload, browse, and go to my computer where I have stored that. And here it is. Click open. So that's just downloaded from the internet and saved into my documents. There it is. And again, increase the size of it onto the frame. And that's it. So the same idea, I'd be grabbing the link for the pupils and dropping that into the chat of the meeting. Next example. So this is the one where I took a little snippet. So I clear the frame. So this is the document that we were working down through in the lesson, and this is the wee bit of code that I want to check. So I will open up the snipping tool, so Windows icon, scroll down to here, down to S, it's alphabetical, snipping tool, click new, and highlight the bit I want to keep, and then on the keyboard, Control C, and then back into my Jamboard, and on the frame, keyboard, Control V. On it goes, and I can again increase the size. So you could do that for lots of things. You could do it for past paper questions, you could snip it and put it in, and so on. So the final example then, so this is putting in a graphic into the background of a frame. So to do that, clear my frame, and I choose set background. And you can notice that you can have lines as backgrounds, you can have squares, you can have colours and so on. And I'm going for an image. I tap my image and I go to browse And this is one that I just downloaded from the internet. If you go onto Google and you search Jamboard templates, you will find loads on there, and you'll be able to download them and then upload them like this as a background into your own Jamboard. So there it is. That's now the background. So say I want to give each of my pupils one of these templates. How do I do that? So I tap up at the top here, and you can see that these are all the individual frames. I'm on frame 5 now. So to put a new frame in, I click Add Frame. But notice that it goes on and it's blank. And I wanted to duplicate this particular background. So I wanted this same one as a template shared out to everybody so they all had their own copy of it. So what I should do is delete this one out because it's blank, and back into here, and I want to choose duplicate. So notice when I do duplicate, it will copy that exact same one across, and my pupils now have got so used to doing this, they just go on and do this duplicate for me, so I don't even need to have this extra step myself. Now you can duplicate the whole way across until you get to 20, because there's 20 frames in Jamboard. If you need more than that, so if you want them all to work individually and you need more than 20 frames for them, what you should do then is make a copy. So when you've got your template all set up, you click these 3 vertical dots and choose Make a Copy. Give it a new name. And then you can choose where you want to save it in your drive. So if you go into there and go down through your folders and find where you want to put it, and then click Select. Click OK. And now you've got a complete duplicate of the previous template. And that's it. So that's a quick tour around Jamboard. So hope you find this useful, and let me know what you're going to use Jamboard for, and keep in touch.